The outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic has posed a major disruption to economic activities across the world. Beyond the drop in commodity prices and external demand, workplace closures and travel bans has impacted on the national economy. This has changed a lot of this and certainly will affect national development. The National Development Planning Commission, NDPC, will be hosting its 12th National Development Forum on Wednesday. So how is the NDPC preparing to work out the impact on future work environment, its implications for the public and private sector, and the kinds of human capital investment and organizational work culture that will greatly advance productivity as the workplace to ensure national development? I'm in studio with Dr. Kojo Esiem Mensah Abrampa, Director General of the NDPC. Dr. Mensah Abrampa, good afternoon. Welcome to the Pulse.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
So, the 12th National Development Forum.
Yes.
First of all, what's the National Development Forum all about?
Well, the National Development Forum is an innovation which was started by the 10 of this commission. Immediately, they were appointed by the president. They thought that it is not just sitting at the drawing table and then working with your computer and other things, which is planning. But planning is really an interface with the citizens, interface with the stakeholders. And therefore, they came out with this idea of establishing a monthly dialogue, which will come out with topical issues that would bring it to the national platform for discussion. And they started it with looking at the future of Ghana, Ghana at 100. What do we perceive? What do we think is our perspective and idea of a Ghana at that time? And the whole discussion started around that. And then it went to the respective sectors related to infrastructure, our attitude and behavior, looking at the issue of land, which is very, very crucial when it comes to development. And then we went into issues related to ICT and innovation. And then we came to health, which will look at preventive health and all those things. At that time, nobody thought COVID was coming, but you'll be surprised 2 months after that discussion on how we could improve our diet, how we could improve our physical exercise and all those things. 2 months after came COVID. And then when we talked about using ICT to improve an efficiency in our workplace and all those things, a month after then COVID. So you realize that some of these things were very, very crucial for bringing us to the point where we're getting ourselves prepared for some of these unexpected eventualities and even in our own life. So this is crucial. And since that time, there was a break because of COVID. So last month, we revived it with another discussion on the economy, the effect on the economy. We had the opportunity to have a real discussion led by Dr. Ansu, who is the commissioner, and also part of those who drew the recovery plan, the Obatampa plan to bring us to
the CARES program.
Exactly, the CARES program.
Oh, okay.
So we had a thorough discussion on that. Unfortunately, we had more discussions and interventions from Ghanaians outside, zooming in and having a discussion more than those of us around because we wanted to control the numbers. But we think that we should also give a rebirth to this whole dialogue at this time to get more people to be involved in the development discussion, the dialogue, so that when it gets to the table, it's already influenced. And there's already an infusion of ordinary Ghanaians into the discussion, not just a technical dialogue. Because planning, in a sense, is a political, technical dialogue.
Okay.
So we can lose that part of it, which is also political.
It's very important. It's very important the way you put it. Now, like you said, your first post-COVID dialogue was on the economy, focused on the economy.
Exactly.
And I get the sense that this time around you're looking at the world of work specifically.
Exactly.
Why is that important?
Work is very important because NDPC has been working since March on the issues around COVID and its effect on various sectors. And one exciting one is on work. Even at our place, I realized that we still have just about a third of us physically there working. The rest, the 2/3, are at home. We used to have about 3 people in an office. Now it's a single person in an office. And we also realized that there is a change in the dynamics of work. At first, the focus was on the presence. You come, you mark a register, you take it, everybody takes it. Oh, you were there. The focus wasn't on the output. What's your contribution to attaining the objective and the general delivery of the organization? We realized that the positive side of COVID is that now it's shifted because people work from home. People work at different places.
So a friend of mine puts it like this: working has become like banking. It's no more a place you go, it's a thing you do.
Exactly.
And you are marked according to what
you output, what you bring.
Now the challenge with Ghana has been our technological backbone, because it's become more and more necessary for people to be interconnected wherever they are to enable this new form of work. How do we fit in the global space with the kind of limitations we have?
This is very important. We did not even anticipate the situation where we were at that time until COVID came. Then we realized that we want to go and use internet. We want to use a website. We want to use all sort of communication to cut down. And then we realized that we're lacking in some of these technology. Although the base is there, has been facilitated over the years with the fiber optics and all these things. In terms of connecting to it and making it useful for citizens, that was where the challenge is. But within a space of just within 4 months, there's been a huge improvement. I take my organization, for instance. We needed to immediately reinvest in the IT systems, reinvest in getting all these things, making sure that people at home could connect and then bring whatever they've done to link up to the center. And that was very important. We need to rely on sometimes on modem and how we can do all these connections. We had to organize international meetings using these technologies. And so we needed to beef up what we had. And then what we did not, we had to rely on the private sector to also supplement. And this is very important. It's also brought us strongly in connection to those private sector producers of some of these facilities. We can also enhance our communication and our work, in fact.
Wow. So who are those minds you are bringing together to discuss this important topic?
Very, very great minds when it comes to this. This is going to be chaired by the Minister for Employment and Labor Relations himself. And then the keynote speaker is no other person than Dr. Anthony Yalba, the Secretary General of TUC, the man in charge of the work itself. And then we'll be able to, he will share with us what is the gap, what is needed, what are the new skills required, what are the new knowledge, the new platform, even the design of our offices. All these have implication on the level of efficiency and the level of application of technology. And he's going to throw a lot of light on that. Then we have other panelists, 2 of them, Professor Bamboating, who is the head of the Department of Economics. I've had the chance to travel with this man to attend some conferences, and you'll be proud to hear him speak over there when to be a Ghanaian, full of knowledge, full of experiences around this, and he's a real technical person who talks about the intricacies about figures and all those things. And we'll listen to him and see how we can apply this. The third speaker is Dr. Mrs. Ellen Hagan, and this is for the private sector. And he's the CEO of Lane Services Limited in Accra. And this is a figure which everybody knows.
Yeah, Dr. Hagan, the HR expert.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, so we're bringing all these people together and to bring about, you see where people, the workplace, and then the work facilities and the logistics come to play and what they can bring about.
Now, we can't have this conversation without recognizing the fact that even though you are a planning commission, Ghana has been criticized about talking and not doing. So where do we take it from there?
What we have done in our small space, because our responsibility primarily is to advise the president, and then also to take out studies, which will bring out new things and innovations and bring it to the desk of the president and the government. And then eventually also planning to ensure there is a balanced development of the ground. So what we have done for the DFID is teaming up with some development partners. And in most of the discussion that we have done around it, implementing it in 10 selected districts, piloting that, how we can bring all these ideas together and pilot. And they use these 10 regions as the showpiece to really expand the process and then scale it up into the country. And then also influence policy and decision making. So that is the most crucial part of it. When decision makers say that this is the option, this is the best alternative, then you go. And that is where we see the practical side of it.
Now, I'll take you to, since we are done with the program itself, I'll take you to some sections of the NPP's manifesto. Since yours is a planning commission, let's see how that fits in with our plans. Page 160, a new harbor in Cape Coast and a new airport in Cape Coast. We saw Dr. Nimoy Thompson, your predecessor, talk about how, well, he chaired the commission.
No, he was
he was the Director General. Yeah, so your
is.
predecessor.
Yes.
Yeah. So I was right earlier.
Yeah.
So Dr. Nimoy Thompson said that there was actually a plan for a new airport in Cape Coast by the NDPC.
Let me say that NDPC has worked together, Commissioner, this is something they work on, to look not only in terms of today's planning, but also in the perspective. And so these perspectives are documents which have been produced. All these things have been brought together in a new document which we call Ghana at 100. And there are programs which we wanted to see in the future, things that we need to do in order to serve as stimulus for our development in many areas in the country. I've heard that, and let me say that about the airport and the harbor at Cape Coast. You know, Cape Coast is noted to be the tourism hub of the country, which is very, very important. And one of the things about tourists is see more within a small space of time, to see a lot. And then also take advantage to the fact that everything that you add to this hub must be a tourist attraction by itself. So if it's an airport, and if you look at the documents which have been prepared, and definitely we will put there for citizens to look at in terms of Ghana at 100, everybody is thinking that this special airport should be a green airport. That's what's stated there. Green in terms of bringing in the environment to blend with providing an airport. So itself is a tourist activity. Some of you who have been to Turkey and other places, Singapore, will see how some of these things have been blended. And that itself is a tourist venture. So much as tourists will use some of these small helicopters and other things to bring in to hop from Accra to Cape Coast and then to the other areas, interior, Kakum and Nsuta, to visit the Nonkonsu, and then also the castle and others. This airport itself is a tourist adventure, which people would like to see.
But the question then would be that should we not develop other aspects of our tourism potential so that it meets the need for an airport rather than put the airport there and have it underutilized?
Let me take it this way. It's an integrated activity. I was in Cape Coast the year of return, and I saw the number of tourists who just came into Cape Coast. Okay? And there are so many facilities that are supposed to be developed together. It is not just airport at one time, then you go and look at some of these tourist activities. No, the whole network of tourist activities are being developed, and that is key to the center of this. It's unfortunate some of them have been obstructed because of the COVID, but there are so many ideas which are coming up to the extent that there's even an activity by the Central Regional Development Commission acquiring a land to develop what we call an industrial hub around Winneba and the other places there. And then also developing a tourist hub, a tourist triangle, the Nonkonsu, the Kakum, and the Castle, to be able to link it with the fastest link, such that you don't spend even 20 minutes or 30 minutes to move to these areas. Then you can have a lot of time to share the leisure time in the town to see it.
Isn't it more efficient to use rail?
Rail is one, it's an alternative.
It's more efficient, isn't it?
When you talk about transportation efficiency, you need numbers. You need to work through all that. And these are things that we consider.
Because rail has because it's not as expensive as air by air, a lot more people can patronize it, and so it will have a multi-dimensional use.
It's not just the rail.
Not just for tourism.
It's not just the rail, but you make something which is itself a tourism. Rail is not something which attracts tourists, unless you want to make a museum. We have a similar thing in Essen in Germany. But apart from that, you can have an airport which is itself a tourist facility. People travel to go and look at it. This one, you can find one of its kind, which Cape Coast is aiming at, so that you can see the green blended one.
But the question is, you have tourist facilities which may not have been developed already. So you've talked about Nonkonsu, you've talked about Kakum.
Yeah.
All of these have a lot of work to be done already, much less going in for an airport, a totally new airport.
No, because if you look at the plan itself, it's not just taking one at a time. It's an integrated thing, which you need to look at. The area in Abra, Asebu, Komankese, for instance, in the Abra area, there are lands which are made available for returnees who would like to come. All these are part of it. If a returnee comes, they want to travel back to Accra within the shortest possible time. There's a helicopter, there's a small flight which you can use to make it. Again, it also produces and it turns the economy around. It's a stimulant. If you have some of these tourist facilities invested in without the fastest link, then it becomes a problem. Kakun, for instance, is an area where a lot of people visit. And people would like to get from Accra to the place within the shortest possible time so that they could visit more places. And that is one thing about tourism. The more places that people could visit within the shortest possible time, they like that. So that they can use the rest of the evening or so to relax. And Cape Coast, there are a lot of things going on. A canoe trip is being organized as part of that between Cape Coast Castle and Elmina Castle. And along the sea, you know, people will be telling you stories about the heritage and all these things about slave trade. So it's a whole integrated thing. There's a thinking, there's also a plan which is moving along the lagoon, which passes just joins the sea just before St. Augustine's. So that to be used as a water tourism. All these are part of the package. So it's picking just one distorts the whole package.
But so isn't this distorting it? Because that's what it is here, that the New Patriotic Party's manifesto picks the airport and the harbour and just moves
if you look at that is the manifesto, it's adding on. If you look at the medium-term development plan, a lot of these things I'm talking about, tourism, is already captured in the tourist activity. They've already secured, for some of them, funds have been secured by the Ministry of Tourism and Creative Arts, and they are working on that. So the manifesto is just bringing up a new idea, adding to what we have already established at the base. That is it.
Dr. Hesiam Abrampa, thank you very much for joining us.
Pleasure.
This afternoon.